Good afternoon, guys, and welcome to the podcast. I've got a fantastic guest for you today, Riggs Eckelberry. He's going to talk to us all about water, and we'll talk about water health, water filtration, water systems, and also the water crisis. And I'm really happy to have him on to share his knowledge and expertise. So, Riggs, welcome.
Well, very simple. When we talk about water, we talk about industry and agriculture, which represent 90% of all water use. You know, they tell us that I came from California in May of 2020, escaping you know what, and I was escaping to Florida. But what they were telling us was to take short showers. But we're only 10% of the demand. 90% comes from industry, and even more important, 90% of the toxins come from industry and agriculture. So the water you have that you're drinking, who drinks from tap water anymore? I mean, forget about it, right? And the reason is that there's so much industrial toxins in the water. It's gotten so bad that now there's class action suits against the companies making the water, the dirty water, that got treated by the city, but not enough. The city doesn't get sued. It's the original polluter. And so the polluters are going, well, if that's how it's going to be, then I'm going to go ahead and treat my own water. And so we have a trend towards industry doing its own water treatment, agriculture, same thing, and it gives them all kinds of advantages. And that's what we're working on really, is the biggest part of the problem right now is industrial pollution. And if we can solve that, then people can be healthy and water can be cheaper, because right now it's inflating way too fast.
Because I live in Texas, and during the summertime we have droughts, and also because the soil isn't as stable, we get a lot of pipe busting, and they have to shut off the water a lot. Talk about the silent crisis, the water crisis. Is getting louder and louder.
Okay, silent crisis is every 2 minutes there's a sewer main break in America. Every 2 minutes. And you don't notice it because it's in somebody's backyard, but now there's poop all over the block, right? This is happening a lot. Also, the American Society for Civil Engineers really updated their projections. Now they project that we will have unpaid bills of $435 billion a year for water infrastructure by 5 years from now. Just 5 years from now, almost $500 billion of unrepaired things, fixed things not fixed. It's really accelerating because of problems like climate change, sewer overflows, and so forth. What's the solution? Well, nobody's going to come up with $500 billion. Not going to happen. Water is very low on the list for funding by central government. So the solution is DIY, do it yourself. There's a big trend with decentralized water. Companies doing their own water treatment. They can recycle it. It's much cheaper for them because there's no inflation really. And finally, they're not involved in the politics of the county or city that's trying to manage their water. So that's what it's all about. It's called Water on Demand. And it's a very exciting venture because not only are we doing it for these companies, but we're also solving a big problem, because when they decide to do this, now they got to spend $1 million. A lot of companies don't have $1 million for water treatment. Like if you're a brewery, you have budget to make beer. You don't have budget to treat water. You send that to the city. But now the city won't take it. Now you got to spend $1 million. You don't have that $1 million. So we say, no problem. Take it as a service. Sign here. It's like those solar panel deals, right? Sign here, 20 years. We'll put our machine on site. You'll pay on the meter. You get clean water. And it's water as a service. And this will revolutionize the water industry, which right now is trapped in low profit, slow moving business model, which is based on selling machines.
So, what I want to ask you about is this idea of, Biden had this infrastructure bill. I'm not sure how productive it was, but is it going to rebuild our water infrastructure? And what are your thoughts on Trump coming in?
Well, first of all, that bill, $1.2 trillion, of that, water got $50 billion, meaning 1/2000th of it. So, nothing. And furthermore, as we know, that the outgoing administration did a very bad job of spending money. They just don't know how to I don't know, spend money, but they knew how to spend money. Let's put it that way. Now, the new administration, we don't know. There's a lot of good talk going on. I think it's wonderful. But the really important part is the focus on making America healthy again, right? There's a recognition now that there are toxic microplastics being put into our water every single day.
Mm.
And those don't break down. And what do you do about it? Well, for starters, you can get it out of the drinking water, right? So that's the first step. But it's a big, big problem. But the fact remains that the federal government just is not paying enough. And the cities and counties, they can't charge enough because they keep charging too much. Then people default and they end up being on water bottles. What's the point of that? So the local utilities can only charge so much. It's already very high inflation. The feds won't help. And so what do? We take the biggest user and we have them share the load. That load sharing is what's going on in water, and it is the solution.
My next follow-up question is how you talk about the water industry seems pretty adverse to change and how you will disrupt it and make us all healthier.
It's so funny because when I started this company, I came from high tech, very disruptive, and I arrived and all of a sudden, and I went, "What's going on?" And literally, one of the people in the fund that was funding us at the time said, "What's the problem, Riggs? I turn on the faucet, water comes out. I flush the toilet, water goes away. What's the problem?" So there's a lot of lack of awareness. Yeah, I hear Flint, Michigan's got problems and this and that, but that's not me. I'm fine. Everything's fine. Water's okay. And so people have bigger problems than water, they think. The problem is that it's inflating faster than college tuition or hospital health services.
Wow.
It's inflating very, very fast,
Wow.
becoming unaffordable for people. Water we take it for granted.
Yeah.
So that's really the problem. So we have literally an unfunded mandate. Because, for example, the EPA is saying to all the utilities, you got to take care of those forever chemicals. And for all 150,000 water systems in America, they allocated a total of $5 billion. Thank you very much. That's one water system in LA. That's it. You just spent all the money. You're done. The problem is we have an unfunded mandate to do something about it. And what we are able to do is do something about it, right? For decades now, we've talked about high-speed transit in America. And we're going to have high-speed trains there. No, what we're going to get is a robotaxi. We're just going to get the robotaxi. Private industry will take care of the problem, and it'll be better. Do you know, I lived in Europe. People don't love public transit because you got to get to the train stop, take the train, and you got to go from the train stop to the place. It doesn't take you from door to door. It doesn't do that. It's not a luxury. And this is true of, it's nice to be able to go really fast on high-speed trains, but most train travel is really boring. You don't have privacy, et cetera. Well, in America and now in China, et cetera, we're making robotaxis happen. An example in Wuhan, where they had a big test of robotaxis, and it worked fantastic. It was very limited. It was a fenced-in system. It was just a test, but it was a huge success. It was cheap. It's 30 cents. You could go down to the grocery store for 30 cents. Boom, jump in the car. Same thing in water. We're just going to bypass the whole problem and just do it at a human scale right now. In this case, on an enterprise scale. Can't rely on government anymore. I don't know what government does, but it doesn't build stuff.
It's interesting because it's like I was joking with my friends the other day. The best way to mess up an industry is to have government come in, and it's going to be interesting to see how Elon and Vivek with this new government efficiency and just talking about these. So the next question I have for you is this idea of where you have this how entrepreneurs and investors can take advantage of this water crisis. What are your thoughts?
We went through a process for the last couple of years. We were working on, I don't know if you've heard about these SPACs, special purpose acquisition company, blank check companies. Turns out these blank check companies, at the end of the day, they have no money. All the money goes away. So we said, okay, enough of that. We're good. We'll take care of ourselves. And sure enough, we created a private company called Water on Demand, which has all of the operating capabilities, these miniaturized systems with the financing to put them out in little pods in breweries, housing developments, dealerships, trailer parks, RV campgrounds, even nuclear power plants, and they do their own water treatment. And that way, this Water on Demand Inc. is a currently operating company making millions of dollars right now, and we are expanding it. What we're expanding is the capital side. Remember, I told you that they don't have to pay money up front? Well, but who pays for the machine then? It's like, oh, Christopher, you can have a free machine that does the job. Somebody's got to pay for that machine. Investors get to pay for the machine, and they own that machine, and they get the residuals. And that is Water on Demand. You can find out more about it. You simply go to Origin Clear, my parent company, Origin Clear, which has an investing button. Find out more about it. We have a whole new world of, we've built an amazing company. We're super proud of it. And we are going after it. We're having fun.
Interesting. What about the revolution of decentralized water wealth? What does that mean?
In the oil well business is something called master limited partnerships, oil well partnerships. Basically, you can have a piece of an oil well. And generational wealth. This is very similar. You can have a piece of a water installation and have a profit share and royalties and lien rights and so forth. And that is becoming wealthy from a $1 trillion industry that is about to expand greatly.
Interesting. You have the next frontier is managed water services. What does that mean?
Water as a service. In other words, if I'm going to start treating my own water, do I have a water expert in my company? No. Do I have that as the spare $1 million to buy that machine? No. So I contract for the full service. So the machine comes in, treats my water. My janitor can take care of the problems that show up, right? Changing a filter, whatever. So it's a very simple, fully managed system. And if necessary, the capital comes with it. And that is water as a service. And it is the new thing. It is happening. Companies like ours that were sold to private equity to do this job have sold for about $500 million each. It's a very hot space right now.
Next question is, what is mistake-based marketing and how is it different from just failing with style?
In the 90s, I was with a public company and we used to use a lot of surveys. We would survey logos and images and content and taglines and all kinds of things. Year 2000 came along. No more money. Now, we're not paying for surveys. What do? Well, you try things out. You throw them out there and see what happens. So basically, I was launching little marketing campaigns. The beauty is that you can just create a whole website, boom, and it looks like a real company, right? And so after the year 2000, I was working with people who were like, Riggs, you just created a whole new company and then tore it down. I'm like, yeah, it was no good. It was just an idea. You throw out the concepts, you play with them. So mistake-based marketing is you basically try out ideas live, because you can do that with digital marketing, right? And see what happens. Now, is it failing with style? Only if you fail to learn the lesson of the mistake, right? Make the mistake on purpose. Like, I'm going to go this way and not that way. Oh, that didn't work. Let me go this way. Do it quick, right? I have a background as a ship captain, and I know that if I go off course for a few days, I got to have a few days to come back on course. The longer I'm off course, the longer I got to fix it. So the key is fix it right away. But everything in life, I believe, is trial and error. Everything is trial and error. You try things, and now you get better at it. You try things that sounds pretty good, but you're always seeing if they work, right? If they don't work, you'd be very smart to try something else.
Yeah, I love that. Inflation is taking off, and you're saying it could reach 50%, 56% per year in 5 years. How did you get to this?
Well, I simply took the existing trends on Shadow Stats, which is a place that they have stats going up to a certain point, and then to get it all up to the present, you have to pay a subscription now. But it showed the actual inflation, not the government inflation. And I simply extended the graph. And I think, well, there we are. It has been, as we know, we go to the grocery store and, we're paying 3 times as much for eggs, et cetera. We know that there's heavy inflation going on. The number one thing that's going to help inflation is productivity, right? If you have more productivity, then inflation starts to chill out. Right now, the problem is we have a lot of money being spent by the government, and without more productivity, it's being badly spent. It's being thrown away.
Yeah.
think that the intention of this administration, if they succeed, will be to target money, and so hopefully the inflation will chill out. I don't know,
Hmm.
but at least they have the right idea.
Yeah, they're trying to grow our way out of the problem as opposed to kind of trying to fix the debt with just the current existing and like I said, this whole the whole government spending is just so inefficient. How can people prepare? Like, what should people start doing to prepare for this? Either profit as an investor or prepare for just water crises. How should people prepare?
Well, the key is asset-based investment, right? Whether you do it with any asset is good because
Mm,
assets tend to hold their value against paper currency.
mm,
So you want precious metals or Bitcoin or whatever. In our case, we've created an asset called water, which is still early stage. So it's underpriced in our opinion. So become involved with Water on Demand Capital, get a piece of a water system that's productive, long-term contract. You get a profit share. You get unpurchased shares in the company. You're a happy camper.
yeah, and how can people find out more about you and your and the work that you're doing?
Go to originclear.com. And if you're interested in hearing about how to become an asset investor in water, just go to click on the Invest Now button. It's also water.originclear.com.
Yeah, thanks so much for coming on and sharing your wisdom and expertise, and keep up the great work.
Christopher, it's been such a pleasure. Thank you. And I wish you the best of luck in Austin.